Howdy. My computer is absolutely heating up and it's like 11 a.m. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Um I'm here to say I want to do like a video diary of me writing my next book. And so the thing is I've been writing on my third novel for 4 years, which is a lot for me because I don't have a finished draft. I have a lot of unfinished drafts. A lot of I talked this about with someone. It's not that I have segments of the novel and of the draft. I do have drafts. Like I have different and edited and read over parts of the book. Just not a complete something. But and I'm really struggling with that because that is my next story that I do want to publish. Um, but it might not be my third finished novel, if you know what I mean. And I've always started writing short stories or, followed kind of my other ideas, but they always kind of return to that storyline, to those characters, because I've been really involved with them for 4 years. Um, and yeah, so and also one of the main aspects was I the last finished novel was It Was Hair. I have it right here. I'm gonna show you because I love to show it. This is It Was Hair, and I wrote it from November 2020 to May 2021. And the thing about that is I started writing it end of November and then kind of thought about it a lot, dreamed of it, asked my friends about where do they think the characters could go, and like kind of got input. And then on New Year's Eve, I wrote a bunch of a bunch of the beginning, and then didn't really return to it until March 2021, and then finished it end of May 2021. And the thing was, I sat down every single free minute I had. I was still in school back then, and I was like, I'll just finish it. I was so addicted to the plot and the characters that I was just like, I'm just gonna finish it. But the thing is, I was 16 back then, so it was like the month before I started writing my big novel. I finished It Was Hair. And maybe that was the reason because I didn't let myself take a break. I didn't let myself take a breather. I was published It Was Hair during that time, and I was wrote a poetry collection around that time. Like in those 4 years, I've done a lot. I've done the Substack, whatnot. This. I'm not trying to excuse myself here, but like, I think one of my brain is kind of, I have this narrative that I kind of build up subconsciously, and it says that, oh, you cannot write if you have all the time you want. And because I finished this one and my debut novel, I finished those two, always in a difficult like exam phase. And I'm like, was it because there was like this external area of my life that was just demanding a lot of pressure and anxiety and effort on my end? But it's silly. It's really silly. It's really silly. It's really tiny. It's not. It's actually not. It's a valid thought. It's a valid idea. It's a valid narrative. But I do want to rewrite it, and so I have talked to like authors that I really admire now, even about my big novel, and I was like, what do I do? And everyone usually tells me to just keep going, and I'm like, it's not like I want to give up. It's not like I'm going in there and I tell them about my novel and I'm like, I'm thinking of giving up. I do not think of giving up. I sincerely think this is going to be the next published novel of mine. But I do want to write. So I think the reason what's happening is I've never written a novel that's actually not true. When I started writing It Was Here, I knew that that would be my next published novel. I just knew it. But like, I feel like I need to write something for myself. I think the reason this big novel, like, it's interconnected with Pretty Tennessee, the Howdy collection that I mentioned, and it's kind of this entire it's this entire project, and I've obviously talked about pre-Tennessee, the internet, and on here, and we all know the cowboy, and um, oh my God, how many hours I've spent discussing the cowboy and pre-Tennessee, and like the art of the cowboy even, like, and it makes sense that a novel that kind of doesn't reveal who the cowboy is, but that kind of um puts the cowboy into a character. It's not anymore this myth. It's not anymore this mystical creature that no one knows who it is, and it's just a poetic figure in my poetry. It's not a you anymore in my poetry. It's a literary character in this novel, and it makes sense that maybe that's because like I feel like I've talked too much about it, and maybe I need to detach myself completely from, and I've tried that, right? Like I sat down and I was like, I'm just gonna write something completely out of the world that has nothing to do with this novel. And I have done that. Like then I usually end up writing a murder mystery or a science fiction novel. And like I've started these projects and they're nice. But then I realized the most I have written on a project since that novel was a novella that is not completely done. I didn't I didn't continue further in that draft. But that was the most I also sat down and felt motivated to write on something. And that one was I allowed myself to have similar characters as in my big novel because I thought maybe that works. And it did work, right? Like I did come back to the big novel, but I am again at a point where I'm like I just I can't. I feel like it's not the time of my life right now. And I was like, but the time is passing anyways, right? It's just like, oh my God, it's gonna take 3 years. It's like, yeah, but do you in 3 years? And I have been asked that. It was like, well, in 5 years, do you want to be a person that has finished this novel, or do you want to be someone that hasn't written this novel? And I was like, I sincerely do want to. I don't want to continue. I will, and if I'm still here in 5 years with this big novel, I'm not gonna like in the writing process and the drafting process. I'm not. I'm giving up, honestly. Um, in 5 years, not now. I'm not giving up. I need a break, and so what a long introduction to this. But I was like, the time is gonna pass anyway. I do really want to write. It's summer. I usually always write the most in the summer, but my novel is just not. My novel is a winter novel. Like, if you really think about it, the most whenever I wrote on that novel was in the winter. And so I was like, cool. So what are we gonna do? I had a bit of a glimpse of a idea on Saturday, and I got a bunch of new notebooks because I didn't have any new notebooks laying around, and now I have like 10 new notebooks. So I was like, I'm gonna take a notebook. So here it is, and I'm just gonna write. Um, and so this is a novel. So this video diary is gonna be about me finishing a first draft, writing a first draft of a novel that's just for me. Absolutely just for me. Not sure if I want to tell you about things, probably. Listen, yeah, why not? I'm gonna share it with you, and if you like it, maybe one day. But like, this is just for me. This is just for me. Okay, so I have no title, no working title, anything. I don't know. I do not have anything. I have just this idea and this feeling that occurred to me on Saturday, and it is based on a lot of fantasies and ideas that I had before it was here, which is good, right? It's good. But anyway, so my thought is I'm just gonna document my journey of how that's going. Um, I don't even think it's about assigning a time of the day or designing times of the week to write. It's literally just being motivated to just sit down and write it. Not in I know there are a lot of voices on the internet that are like like you shouldn't wait around to be motivated. Um, which works in specific phases of your life. I would say that definitely worked for me last winter. That works for me in the winter. I kind of need the. I also kind of have that, but it is again motivation. Like even if it you if even if you sit down even though you're not motivated to write, you're still motivated to write. Like, you cannot tell me that you sit on your table and write words onto your page. There's no motivation. You cannot tell me that. I'm true believer that people who say, "Oh, you should just sit down and write, even if you're not motivated." But something moved you to sit there and write, okay? Anyway, so I have this motivation right now, right? And so I'm gonna do it. So here I am. So my deadline is gonna be August 21st, which is we have July 15th. So we have 1.5 months, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I can do that. I see myself on August 31st writing the last word of the first draft. Because the first draft, what is a first draft? A lot, obviously. Especially completed first draft, Bonnie. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. It's a simple story. I didn't even think I have a lot of characters. I just think I'm just gonna focus on my protagonist, which is nice because I don't think I have ever. I have written, but I have never, like, the ones that I finished always had two different protagonists, two different main characters that I was kind of following around. And I was around both of them in third person. Not sure about time, or the tense. I actually don't know. That just happens naturally to me in the story. I can't tell you about Follow Me or Where It Was Here. I can't. I can't. But yeah. So we're not gonna play around a lot with structure. We're gonna So I'm reading right now a book that is in the second person, which I really enjoy. Even though moments I have where her name gets called and I'm like, who is that? And then I'm like, all right, that's the narrator who's talking to me all this time. But I do enjoy the freshness of that, actually. Even though, like, the first time I ever heard about it until now, I feel like that's been more around now in the last few years. But so I'm definitely thinking I'm gonna write in the first person because that was the thing I was struggled with this big novel. Um, Maybe calling it my big, but it is a big novel. Okay, I can call it a big novel. I've been writing on it for 4 years. There's a lot of words. There's a lot of pages. There's a lot of stories and a lot of scenes. God, it's a big novel. Anyway, but I've always been struggling with who's the narrator and who, because I have these, right, because I've always shown up to different times in my life in these last 4 years to the novel and then written on it for 3 months and then being like, so essentially I have like tiny finished first drafts, but they all interconnected. So it's okay. It's okay. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. I'm not gonna deal with that until September though, which makes sense. September, fall. Okay, I should stay online here. That's not more to say. I wanted to introduce you to this diary journey of mine because this is my diary, and I've been thinking a lot of things of how I can show up on here um for everyone who's subscribed to this, and I'm yeah, that's that was a period. um yeah. Okay. Um Anything else to say? No, not really. I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to explore this. So basically what I've done so far is I wrote myself an introduction line for myself. It's simply, I'm writing this book because I need to finish something to show myself I can finish novels without school. So well, um, deadline is August 31st, and then I just wrote wipes, and I just wrote words. I just wrote the vibes to it, the things that I saw. I'm a very visual person, so whenever I get an idea, I see things. But if you feel things, or you hear things, or you sense, what else is there? Or you see words, oh, even perfect. Like, write those down. Like, that's what I did here. Um, yeah. And then what I did after that, what I kind of but then neglected, was I just opened up Pinterest and I did a mood board for this, and it's literally called my next finished novel. I'm just like manifesting and the working title at the moment. And so yeah, I just put in the little words that I wrote down. I just jotted them into Pinterest and then just looked for photos that kind of felt like, or that kind of were the picture that I had in my mind. All right. Yeah. Okay. I yeah. I don't know how often these video diary is gonna come out, but as I'm going, probably. Very likely though, I work on a basis that I usually put out things 10 days after I finish them. So what do I wish for myself in 10 days when I watch this video when it comes into my inbox? I kind of hope I have written a few words. And I know I'm still as intrigued by this idea and image that I had. I know it's just an image, I know it's just an idea, it's nothing to rely on. Like, once you build something onto that image and idea, that's very much just the thing that's going to be, well, you're obsessed with. But yeah, I'm if you never see this, I likely have just abandoned this. But if you see this, I'm still going strong. So, all right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching with me on this journey. All right. Well, let's see where this is going, okay?